Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Doom Tomb podcast. My name is Chris, and I will be your host. Today on the podcast, we have a band out of Arizona called the Wolves of Winter. This interview was really kind of an on-the-spot interview. We didn't even really have a place to hang around, so we literally were standing in an alley on the side of the venue, which was the Palo Verde Lounge. Shout out to Palo Verde Lounge. If you listen, you don't even have to listen too closely, you will hear Amplified Heat, the band that I previously had on the podcast, in the background. You'll even hear some of the songs that I was referring to in the podcast. So let's talk about a little bit about Wolves of Winter. They have had a release out for a little bit, and they finally got their release out on vinyl. And there are some beautiful different splatter colors and solid colors that they had released. And if you haven't seen this package for this record, it looks phenomenal. Everything from the artwork to the design. Big shout out to No Slip Records. Boy, they had it down. They just did a proper, awesome release. It really is fantastic. If you need to find them, you can find them at Bandcamp. You can find them Big Cartel. Discogs.com, is that how you pronounce it? Discogs. There's a whole bunch of places where you can find stuff from No Slip Records and Wolves of Winter. If you haven't heard No Slip Records, they have some other great artists such as Doomstress, Disenchanter, Mother Slug, Hell Hookah, Wasted Theory, and Book of Worms or Book of Worms, WV. So check them out. There's some really fantastic music, and No Slip Records is doing it right. They put out some quality material. Also, I wanted to mention that Wolves of Winter has this T-shirt out, which has some amazing work from David Paul Seymour. Everybody should follow David Paul Seymour on Instagram. He is one of the top illustrators for this genre. He just does amazing work, and you will be highly impressed with the design he came up with. And just check him out and see what he's got coming up or what he's working on, because it's always really sometimes I wish I had that kind of mind, and I'm so glad that somebody does to put it out on paper. They also have a few different other things. They have, of course, some patches if you want to put an additional finishing touch on your battle jacket or just start to create your battle jacket. And, they've got stickers and all kinds of other stuff available. So check them out, Wolves of Winter. Check them out through No Slip Records. Support the scene. Support the independent boutique-style record labels. And they'll see what else that they can come up with due to your support, basically. So in this podcast, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. We talked a lot about the album that they had. We also talk about a possible upcoming tour, and they'll be around in maybe another continent next year. Not quite sure. We're going to find out. We talked a little bit about band influence, their equipment, and we even got a little bit into conspiracy theories. Now, with all that said, I wanted to try and do something on every podcast where I would ask the band for a question to ask the next band. I asked the question, I got a great response, and then I took their question, but I forgot to ask the next band I interviewed. So I will be asking that question on a future interview. But I think I kept it in line for the next coming interviews. The next upcoming interviews, just like this one, is a little chaotic. You'll hear a lot of background noise. I apologize in advance, but I think of it this way. It feels like you're at the venue, and not only do you hear a podcast, but you have this background live concert that you can enjoy and listen to at the same time. And kudos to you if you can pick up any of the songs. Message me and let me know what you heard. As always, you can reach us at Doom Tomb Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. We're on YouTube. Just find us, like us, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, and rate us when you can. Thank you so much. And here is the podcast interview with the Wolves of Winter in Tempe, Arizona. All right, I am here at the Palo Verde Lounge in Tempe, Arizona, otherwise known as the Dirty Verde.
Yes, you are.
With the Wolves of Winter.
Yeah.
That is Josh on the mic.
Yep.
Introduce yourself, sir.
I am Josh McGee, Wolves of Winter, vocals, guitar, and this is Mike. Mike, say hi.
Hi, my name is Mike.
Mike plays drums, and this is...
I am David. I am high. I play bass.
He's high and plays bass. You're supposed to say hi. Say it again.
I'm high.
Okay, well, here we are.
So, now I've seen you guys a couple of times. Never a bad show. Always a killer performance.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, one thing that I don't see a lot, I saw you do a little something here. Do you ever do a cover?
Not yet. That's something that we've talked about, right, Mike? I mean, Mike, why don't you say something about that?
Yeah, we talked about doing some cover tunes. We jam on them at rehearsal at my house when we're practicing, and we'll jam on different tunes here and there, just from bands that we like or just stuff we're fucking around with. But yeah, we haven't really did an actual cover that we wanted to perform yet in front of people.
You gonna break it out in 2018?
We've talked about, Tomorrow's Dream by Black Sabbath is something that I think we've talked about doing. That's an underground sort of Sabbath tune. Yeah, would love to do that, but yeah, no, not yet, man.
I always love hearing when a band will pick like a deeper cut.
Yes.
Because it just shows like you have an actual love of the band, and you listen to the entire catalog, you pick something great.
You don't want to just play the hits.
You just don't want to play the hits.
You want to play the good songs that you're a fan of.
Right on.
Not just the single or the big known songs.
So
it's all about the underground.
So give me a little insight, because I know you guys had an LP that just came out and multicolored.
Yep.
No Slip Records, shout out.
Yeah, shout out, yep.
So let me go through a few of the songs and pick any song that you want, but the first one I just want to talk about is Astral Thoughts.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Tell me about that song.
Astral Thoughts was the first song it's funny you ask, because that was the catalyst to what Wolves of Winter became as the band. I mean, I had a previous bass player before Dave here, who introduced me to like a stoner rock scene, and he turned me on to bands like Sleep.
Yeah.
And I listened to that, and it like opened my eyes, really, and closed them at the same time. And I wrote that song, and it was that was it. I mean, that was Wolves of Winter. Astro Thoughts was pretty much the beginning to what our band was. So, we're still playing it today. It's still one of our favorite tunes, and yeah, Ivan says it was the one. That was the one that kind of started the band.
Because I could see it on stage. I could see the energy that comes out of that song. It's almost like each time I see it, it's like watching you, like you figured it out in a way.
I think it was when that song was written, when I wrote that song, actually, it's when my eyes were open to what could be done musically with me, with whoever I ended up being in a band with, and I mean, unbelievable, man. Finding Mike, finding Dave, these two guys standing next to me, it was a dream come true. I mean, I can't really say much more than that.
So, talking about the music process, do lyrics come first? Does the music come first? Is it a collaborative effort?
Well, the first record wasn't very collaborative at all. The first record was very much something that I kind of did on my own and in my lonesome, as they might say, in kind of a down period of my life, and wrote, the lyrics and the music to this record. And what I never thought that would actually happen fully would be to find two people that could be a rhythm section that could back me as a powerhouse.
Like,
you
really
know?
flesh it out.
And then take it to the next level.
And
Yeah.
to take that to the next level, and I mean, these guys just were able to do that, and it changed my life musically for sure.
Awesome. Now, I've seen you a couple of times, like I said, and I know you've toured with or played with a couple of different bands. I know you've been outside of the state and etc. Anybody that you're looking to tour with?
Well, we've definitely talked about that. I mean, I think all of us want to get outside. Where I can't give too much information away, but we may be touring abroad here at some point
Awesome.
soon. But I'd actually like to pass the mic to Dave and let him, kind of talk about like what he'd like to do with the band.
Sure.
This is Dave. He plays bass. He's a badass. Here we go.
What was
Dave-
the question? What?
Here, let's start out with this. Tell me your gear.
My gear I'm playing now is Josh's gear, pretty much. I'm playing this one-off Jackson concert 5-string neck through that Josh got from acquired from a place he used to work.
All right.
I usually play an orange bass terror, but I am falling out of love with that because it always breaks.
So what are you looking forward to getting?
I don't know, those Fender Bassman 800 that we used at one point that's an excellent bass amp. Yeah, really dug that. And my favorite bass to play, I like the Jackson. I do like, was it a 78?
Yeah.
A 78 PV T40. It's beautiful. It weighs as much as Mike.
Just about.
And how about your pedals?
Pedals, again, Josh's. So I'm using this awesome Yngwie Malmsteen overdrive for the main, the main.
It's weird because people might say like you're playing the Yngwie overdrive, but no, as a bass overdrive, it's great. Yeah, it's great. It works really well.
Yeah, not a best guitar pedal. And I use, was that a Mojo Hand Colossus is the fuzz pedal.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it right now.
The carbon copper thing. The green one.
I don't even have that one today.
Phaser thing that you.
Oh, Phase 90. That's an important one. Yeah. MXR Phase 90.
So now, with all that, and how do you incorporate that into creating the music? Like, do you add a bass line first? Do you come up with some lyrics?
No, generally, like Josh said originally, he had most of the stuff going. I just kind of complimented it and kind of put my spin on that kind of thing. The new stuff is more collaborative. We're kind of jamming on it.
Right.
I should probably take control here.
Of my anus.
Yeah, right. Yes, the first record I pretty much wrote the first record, but what I think is extremely important for the second record is to get guys like Mike, guys like Dave, who I respect immensely, and get their opinions on things, and let's work together and make this more of a collaborative effort. Which it's been really tough. I think we all talk about it on a weekly basis that we feel like we're behind on creating the material, new material.
Right.
And part of that is that when you have shows coming up, you want to rehearse for the shows. You're looking at what you have coming next. But I think what we're trying to do right now is to mostly maybe
Write something new.
put those things aside and create some new music, because we get a lot of people that are interested in what we're doing, and we want to do some new material. And we just need some breathing room, I guess.
Yeah, maybe a little hibernation time to get back into.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I mean because for me especially, because these guys will tell you as much as I will tell you, is if there's a show 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what's most important to me is making sure that we get together and play. We haven't even played for a couple weeks. We played tonight. It was great. But I gravitate more towards, we got a show, we got to rehearse what we know, and less about progression. But I think as a band, I think it's in all of our interests, especially these guys, because I want to see them really be able to start kind of putting their creative input into what we're doing.
Yeah, the collaborative effort, man. It's the fist or five,
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Mike, who are your major influences?
Major influences? It's kind of all over the place. Anything from thrash metal bands, old school 80s thrash, to a lot of old school death metal bands, some progressive stuff.
You talking like Morbid
rock.
Angel, Cannibal?
Morbid Angel, Death, Cynic. I love those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Obituary, one of my favorites.
All right, Dave, and you're
Anthrax, Sepultura, Fear Factory, COC.
Some of the godfathers of thrash and speed.
All that kind of stuff.
So how does
that, like some stoner rock stuff?
So how does that come in to the style that you're playing now? I mean, I hear some elements.
There's a little,
but
there's
it's a little
bit, yeah,
little
there's
slower.
A little bit there and there. It's a lot slower, and
Right.
just the groove and the intensity that I try and bring across. Even though, I mean, the stuff that we're doing really isn't fast or that intricate, but I pick my spots, pick and choose the spots, and I can just with the structures.
Your music really comes with
powerful.
it really does come with heart. I've heard it plenty of times, and I've seen the lyrics and actually just really soaked it in. And it's coming from a deep place. I really don't know, Josh, where you were at the time.
It's all about the power groove and the feeling there.
where I was at the time. At a low point.
Yeah.
At a very low point. I think that a lot of people that actually listen to this record might hear it. They might not. I was rock bottom.
Really?
Yeah.
I could hear it emotionally, like maybe there was something going on with a significant other or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you listen to the lyrics, I mean, congrats to you. You are actually listening to it,
yeah.
Which is, yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you feel that when you're on stage? Does anything ever come like just roaring back into your head, like this brings me back to that time?
No.
Or does it feel more cathartic that you? No,
it's neither. It's been too long.
It becomes a song.
It's a song. It's a piece of music. Like Mike said, it's a song. It's a piece of music. When I was writing it, to the audience, I mean, essentially, I was in a relationship with someone for a decade, which ended abruptly. And I went from like dual income circumstance, living in a great condo, to being by myself in a studio apartment.
It's a big change.
It's a big change, and I'll never forget. I mean, the day that I woke up on basically a how they call it, like a cot. I mean,
like a futon kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically by myself, and the moment I opened my eyes, I broke out into tears. That was my life all of a sudden. Was misery.
And you drew from that.
Well, what I had to do, I mean, I didn't have anything else. I had a guitar.
Inspiration and desperation.
I had a guitar, and I had a computer, and I had a little bit of talent, I think. And I was able to kind of redirect, the way that I felt into music. And what I did was create the record that I did. And like I said, Mike and Dave eventually found themselves into this circle. And we're playing these tunes like it's insane what we're doing. But there is a lot more to do, and there's some advancement to be done. It's just the beginning, yeah.
Just the beginning.
It's just the beginning, yeah.
So, what do you think you want to add to the next chapter?
Well, I think what needs to happen for us, I don't know what the I can't say for a certainty what the subject matter is going to be for every song.
Right.
But what I do know is that at first, I can tell you one thing. At first, I'd be in rehearsal and Mike would have an idea like, let's make the riff go this way or that way. And I was all like, shut up. You don't tell me what way to do. But when you start to think about it, it's like, when you understand rhythms like a drummer like Mike does, it's someone as talented as he is, you got to kind of step aside and say to yourself, maybe I got to listen to him.
Right.
And grow as a musician, and really understand what someone else has to say.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's where we're at right now. I want these guys to put their best foot forward and to make me a better musician and to challenge me. That's actually what I'm looking forward to.
So have you all been in bands previously?
Oh, yeah.
And anybody want to talk about some of the music that you had played before this?
Well, but right before this, I played another band with Mike.
Right.
It was pretty cool, a little heavier.
More of a sludge metal thing.
Sludge metal-y thing. Growing up, I played mostly in punk rock bands. Yeah, really
like punk of a particular vein, or
kind of like 90s skate, California kind of punk.
right?
Yeah, faster. Yeah,
Skate punk, like old Gangrene, or
yeah. There you go.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
or maybe
yeah.
a little more, I don't know, like punk metal, like maybe even like an SOD or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, SOD
It's one of the best bands ever.
Best bands ever.
So, the one thing that I want to say is that we played a show last year over at the Rogue, and Dave here to my right, there were some police that were they had pulled someone over, and it was on Scottsdale Road here in Arizona, and
when he went the wrong way.
Dave was
out of the club and goes the wrong direction.
Dave started yelling at the police like over the wall. He's all F the police. When he says he has a punk rock background, I think he's understating that very, very much. But I think that for us as a band, I think what we're looking at wholly is just we want to be the best band that we can be. We want to bring our fans what they want, but we're not miracle makers. We can't just snap our fingers and come up with album number 2.
Sure.
It's taking a little bit of time, and I just hope that everyone has the patience they have. I'll give the mic to Mike. Give the mic to Mike. Mikey Horn. Here he is.
Now, Mike, what do you think about the all the like Desert Doom and all the type of festivals that are going on? Is there a festival that you guys are looking to go for?
I want to play that one in England, Desert Fest in England.
Desert Festing, and why over there?
I don't know, it just seems like a cool fest. They get bands from all around the world.
Right.
And I know it's not like a 50,000 seat festival, it's in a bunch of different clubs, but I think that's really cool and nice and underground. And you get all different types of bands. You get doom bands, sludge bands, funeral doom bands, desert rock type bands, and just everything.
And speaking of, is there anybody from across the pond that you're listening to right now?
Orange Goblin's pretty cool. I dig those guys.
Truck Fighters.
Truck Fighters are cool. Yeah, we did a show with those guys not too long ago.
And they were just
those guys
here?
were fun. Yeah, they just played last week, and
Shout out
we
to
did
the
a show
Truck
with them like
Fighters.
6 months ago.
Right on.
Yeah.
So here's a bomb drop. This is not completely planned, but we just might go to Australia next year.
Killer.
And we might have one show with Greenbeard, and we might be doing east and west coast of Australia. But we're still feeling that out and just kind of making sure that things. I literally don't even have a passport yet, so none of us do.
Hey,
so but hey, people are asking, so we'll see. I mean, they want us down there, down under, and yeah. I mean, that's great. They've been great to us.
So how do you work that with your gear? Are you going to would you be bringing
so basically
some gear?
something like that would work in a way where, the band, you want to bring your own instruments, right? Like you want your guitar,
Right.
With Mike, I mean, he may not have the luxury. He's going to take the mic.
I want my drums, but that's not going to happen because it's about $1,000 to ship them across the world. So yeah, we're gonna have to rent stuff, and I think the touring company is gonna put a package, like a backline together for amps and drums and stuff.
I said it with a previous band that, I've seen several bands play on the same kit.
Yeah, a lot of guys will play the same drum set,
Right.
which is fun sometimes, but not every time.
Right.
Well, Mike had the opportunity to Year of the Cobra was here, and amazing band. First of all,
I remember.
First of all, can I just say, I mean, Year of the Cobra, unbelievable band.
Right.
Those two, I mean, the two of them, super cool people. The two of them kick is for a two-piece band.
Yeah.
They kick so much ass. And
He kicked so much ass that
he kicked so much kick drum that he broke his kick drum, so we were able to help him out with that. But I mean, Mike was able to lend that. But yeah, I mean, sure. I mean,
Mike Horn to the rescue.
to the rest. But I mean,
Show must go on, right?
yeah. So what do you do? Yeah, no. There's a lot of logistics to kind of figure out, and making things like that work for sure.
Absolutely. So now let me just take a little sidestep here. You guys are into TV at all, or no, or any kind of?
Into what?
If you've heard about it, is there
Into
anything?
What is this?
Because it's a question I like to ask a lot.
Yeah, I've heard of the television.
I just like to ask it a lot because I never know who's watching what. What's the last Netflix binge you had?
I don't do Netflix.
I don't do Netflix. I have some other websites that I look at. As far as like TV shows and things like that.
What did you say? Pornhub, you said?
Yeah, I think
Pornhub.
Is that the one,
Pornhub. Yeah, no. Designated Survivor with
Designated
Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay.
Amazing. I was always I loved 24 when he
Right.
did 24.
He was good in Lost Boys.
Yeah, well, everyone was good in Lost Boys. I mean, God, that movie. But Kiefer Sutherland is kicking ass in that show. Designated Survivor, and I'm looking forward to the return of Westworld.
Westworld, yeah.
Which was a big hit for HBO, I
Yep.
believe it was.
HBO, yep.
I mean, oh God, I can't. I mean, that's going to be incredible. But
Do you ever get inspired at all by any media, like a movie that inspires a song, or a television show that inspires you to write something?
no, not musically.
Where do you find the majority of your inspiration?
I really have found inspiration in my life musically. I think that's why, going back a few moments ago when we talked about, some life-changing events for me
Right.
that created that. But I don't know. I mean, where do you find that? I mean, it's like Led Zeppelin was one of my Robert Plant,
Right.
being a key area of inspiration influentially. But it's like, dude, you wrote songs about like The Hobbit, and I mean, like I just don't get that.
It just came out of nowhere.
I can't. I would never write songs. When he wrote Misty Mountain Hop or things like that. But some things that I do get when he wrote things like, well, when he wrote like Since I've Been Loving You, and I've been working from 7 to 11 every night, it really makes life a drag.
Yeah.
I think we can all
Identify.
identify with that.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, there are certain things with him as a young gentleman to be able to align himself with some of these things that can unite us all. I mean, I don't even know where it even came from. But no, I don't. I'm certainly not someone who's going to turn on Netflix and write a song about it.
There you go.
That's for sure.
Okay. Now, if you could pick maybe a book or an album or something that needs to be in a school curriculum, what would it be?
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean that almost gets into politics now, doesn't it?
A little, yeah. No judgment, whatever it is. If you can't think about it, an album. Go ahead, an album.
Master of Reality.
That's a good one. Sabbath Master Reality, Among the Living by Anthrax.
Among the Living by Anthrax. Okay.
Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin, maybe.
Actually, Speak English or Die
By SOD.
by SOD.
Yeah, I don't know how well that's going to go over in school.
Sergeant D is coming.
I think one of the main things that we have to stay away from, now unfortunately today is politics, and
Right.
As much as I have a lot of opinions of that,
We all do.
we have to stay away. But what I would say is that I think number one is you talk about a book or literature
Yeah.
that students should learn. I think that should be the Constitution of the United States of America.
Awesome. Learn the history.
Yes,
Learn the history of your country.
I think the Bill of Rights and the Constitution are two very, very important fundamental documents that I think less and less people are learning. And I don't care whether you come from the punk rock background or the stoner rock background or whatever it is. But I mean, we got to talk about some serious stuff with these kids, and they're not being given the information that they need, in my opinion.
Right.
At a young age that they need to be given. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So I have one more question. First, I have to give you the question that the other band gave, and their question was, where's the pot? Where's the marijuana around here? Okay? We've cleared that. So what I like to do is I ask the band, what is a question that you want to ask the next person I interview?
Wow, that's kind of an interesting thing. I would ask other adults, other bands and other adults, how they continuously conduct their lives while being high so much. I mean, I
Is this everything? Is this like prescription meds and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like me, I was one of those people throughout I thought I would smoke weed the rest of my life.
Right.
But I found myself, like, on a night like tonight, if I were to take a few hits, I wouldn't even be doing this interview. I'd be in there eating nachos and just staring at the wall. Like, I can't do it. But sometimes I do miss that, and it does help me with writing, with music and things like that. So I don't look down on it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we're a stoner rock band. I mean, our music, it's like I wrote half my music high as a kite.
So it's almost like you seem like a lot of people are going through life in a haze, and if they would just accept the reality that they're in, it might be a little easier.
Maybe. No, I don't even know if that's necessarily the case. I just know for me, it's like, okay, so for example, if I'm hanging with all you guys,
right,
and I went out to my car and smoked a bowl or something,
right,
I would show up. I would not be talkative. I would not be myself. I'd be kind of.
You kind of get very insular.
I would be, and they talk about like quote unquote paranoia.
Right.
It's not about like, oh, the FBI's beyond me, but it'd be like, oh shit, I didn't pay that bill, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. It's like little things that start to happen in my head. So no, I mean, it might not be the most cool thing to say, but I'm going to be honest. I mean, it's something that doesn't really work for me in my adult life, but I absolutely sometimes do welcome it and enjoy it. I just, when you talk about weed, I mean, I'm not against it. I just, it just doesn't work for me very well. Personally, Dave is going to have a very different. Dave is going to have a very different take on this.
I actually see smoke coming out of his ears
now.
Let
me hand the mic over to Dave.
I enjoy marijuana more than most things on Earth.
Are you more of? What's your specific way that you enjoy this?
Anymore.
Rectally.
Rectally. Mostly rectally.
As a suppository.
Mostly suppository marijuana. Very good.
I usually use concentrates because they're concentrated.
So you do the dab.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I do it. I spent lots of time, as these guys know, in a lot of pain. I'm
going to steal the mic real quick. We were coming back from Vegas last week, or a couple weeks ago. We played in Las Vegas with John Gist, who may end up hearing this. And Dave is the type of guy that likes to ad-lib song lyrics as they're playing and to like change the lyrics, and he sings along to it, and it's like, okay, so like it better like pour your sugar on me, but Dave's all like fucking like put your dick on me or something.
So he likes having dicks on him. Okay, we've learned something tonight.
Well, but I mean, it was like for literally, I mean, was it like 4 or 5 hours? I mean, straight.
The whole ride there,
It was the entire ride there, the entire ride back. This guy ad-libbed and did that, and he was high as hell.
Extremely creative.
Dave, talk about that.
All right. That was a lot of fun. But the only thing I was going to say is that on a serious note, marijuana concentrates really helped me. I spent a lot of my life addicted to opiates because of pain.
Really?
And I don't do those anymore. So
That's a really good thing.
That's solid.
yeah, I'm not on drugs anymore. I'm just
dab.
Indeed. Yeah.
Now, Josh, you mentioned something earlier, and I was going to wrap this up, but I wanted to ask this.
Sure.
Do any of you have any conspiracy theories that you believe in?
Yes.
Go ahead, or give me your top 1 or 2 or whatever. Or what do you?
Oh my
God! Or maybe even
gosh.
like, what are you questioning? That like, what is that? Why is that happening? Why is this going on?
Wow. Yeah, that's a rabbit hole moment. I have to ask my friend Alex Jones to get involved here real quick. Okay?
Alex Jones.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys something real quick. Okay?
We got a false flag.
Okay. First of all, they're putting fluoride in the water. Okay? You're all going to die.
There's so many. I don't know if you do this.
There are, but many of them are actually very super important. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, Alex will tell you. I mean, I don't know if you know Alex.
Not personally, but I've listened to the show plenty of times.
Well, one thing I was gonna tell you is that one thing that they're really doing is the people. They're killing everybody. They're killing babies.
And by the way, you got to get my survival kit.
All right. No, I mean, it's like, you know, but at the same time, he will say, and one thing I want to tell you is, we do have nutraceuticals available. I want you guys to buy those. Got male vitality over here, half off tonight. All right. No, I mean, yes. Are there? You know, the main problem with the whole idea of conspiracy theory is that was a term that was coined by the CIA many years ago to basically discredit anyone that was talking about real things that were actually going on. So no, I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of messed up shit going on. I mean, absolutely, and it's something that me and Mike talk about. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Nobody knows the truth.
Do you guys go through YouTube hell? I call it YouTube hell, where I'm always 5 videos away from just going down a hole.
And you go into like the dark.
I will luckily. I will.
Dark 5. Oh my God!
I will happily go down. I will happily go down that hole. The thing is sometimes what we have to look at is, I mean, what's real and what's not real. And the thing is with someone like Alex or, you know, any number of these things is they end up getting proven to be right many times.
Right.
And what we look at, you know, 2-3 months later, a year later, is like, oh shit, he was right, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I will say unequivocally and on the record on your show,
right,
that in the studio that we're in right now.
Yeah,
in this grand studio.
In this studio, I'll say unequivocally that yes, there are absolutely some things that his team does,
right,
that are very notable and are important. But I also do think at the same time,
it's entertainment. There's entertainment value.
Well,
there's entertainment value. Well,
they're going for ratings and they want to sell.
Did you ever see when he went into the Bohemian Grove? He had a whole big thing about going into the Bohemian Grove.
No, but I can only imagine. The thing is that, you know, I think his heart's in the right place, and I think that he's thrown over the coals, as they say.
Right.
He's been made to be this, well, hey, they have this one guy that they want to forecast as being this terrible person that lies about everything. a dissident, yeah. Dissident, yeah. I mean, like Pearl Jam, a dissident is here.
Little Slayer.
But
shout out.
But no, I mean, I think what he says sometimes what he says makes sense.
There's a lot of truth to it. It makes sense.
Do I know of anything specifically that he's been adamant about that's been proven false? No.
Okay.
And I just don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I did, I mean, I'm not trying to be an advocate. I'm just saying that if I knew anything specifically that him and his outfit, whether it's InfoWars or whatever, pushed that was false, I'd be more than happy to distance myself from it.
If anything,
but it seems like more than not that it actually proves to be somewhat true.
Just open your eyes.
Yeah.
Just open your eyes. Now, Mike, it sounds like you got a lot to say about that.
No.
Mike doesn't want to. Mike doesn't want to. He's not as brave as I am talking about that other thing. I'm gonna tell you something right now, Mike. This is Mike from Worlds of Winter. I want him to get on the radio real quick and just say something about me.
Got satellites going overhead,
and they're gonna pinpoint us. They're gonna hit us with a laser.
That's the tinfoil hat stuff right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey man, it's been a great interview with you. And the thing is, man, to your listeners, if anyone hears this, hey, we don't know. All we got to do, you open your ears, you listen to whatever anyone has to say, and make up your own mind.
Exactly. Think for yourself.
It's up to you. Think for yourself. Yeah, think for yourself. Because, I mean, is he full of shit? Is CNN full of shit? Is Fox News full of shit? Is MSNBC full of shit? Is Donald Trump full of shit? Is Rachel Maddow full of shit? I don't know. But all I know is there's certain times when you hear someone expound a statement and it resonates with you and you say, I agree with that.
Either that or your eyebrow raises like, doesn't quite seem right.
Yeah, but if you do agree with it, don't let anyone ever tell you not to agree with it because the publication or the person that's saying it, other people are trying to discredit. Yeah, just yeah, make up your own damn mind. That's how I feel about it.
Exactly.
100%.
Well, listen, guys, dude, I am so thrilled to have you and to talk to you. I think that's awesome. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Much success in the future. Can't wait for the next release.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
All right.
Chris rocks.
All right, just a little bit of news coming your way. Just want to let you know about a tour coming up with 1,000 Mods, Sierra, and Telekinetic Yeti. I've seen Telekinetic Yeti before, and they were amazing. They were so loud. It was such a great show. And the other two bands I have not seen yet, but I am looking forward to it. If you haven't heard them, go check them out. They're on Bandcamp. Follow them on social media and check out the tour. They've got, at least, 20, 30 dates. So hopefully they'll be coming to a town near you. Also, there's a band, I'm hoping you've heard of them by now, called Stone Witch. And they had a release a little while ago called Order of the Goat. It's a 5-song EP. If you haven't checked it out, please do so. They have got this stoner, doomy, occult horror kind of vibe going, and they have got some great merch to go along with that. I expect huge things from them in 2018. I know that they're in the studio now working on a release, and if it's anything like what they have been playing live, that new material is fantastic. Also, a band that I cannot wait to see live, I hope they come out to the West Coast, that is Wolftooth, all one word, Wolftooth. And they are out of Richmond, Indiana. They have a 3-song EP that was almost like a taste, it's like a sampler, getting ready for the big release in 2018. They also have some killer merch going on. And, of course, like, who doesn't need another shirt, right? Who doesn't need another album? Like, we never have too much. Too much is never enough. And Wolftooth is going out. They have some tour dates available as well, and they're finishing up their release for 2018. So check them out as well on Bandcamp and all social media. They are extremely responsive, and see if they can come to a town near you. Thanks so much, and that was the news. All right, everybody, that was Wolves of Winter. Thank you so much for listening. I think we got a lot of questions answered and a great amount of detail for their latest release. I'd like to tell you about next week. Next week is going to be a band called Red Wizard out of San Diego, California. I got a few of the guys to sit around and chat for a little bit. It was Travis, which is vocalist, and he also does a great job on harmonica. Miles, which is he's the lead guitarist, and David, which plays the bass. We cover a few things, and it is massively chaotic. It was outside the venue at the Yucca Tap Room, and I believe you'll hear Greenbeard, the band, just coming in as we're finishing the interview. So shout out to Greenbeard. I hope to get them on the podcast real soon. Until that time, thank you so much. Go out and see some shows, support the local scene, support your local artists, and we will see you next week.